last game, the Marineking was dominant in that first game. In the upper right starting location on the map, Antigua Shipyard. Now at 1-1, he needs to step it up. His ID is Marineking Prime. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we have in the blue, showing that, you know what? I want this. I want to come back, and I can come back. His ID is DRG. So, the map is Antigua Shipyard. This is a map that's tough for Zerg. Zerg have a hard time getting to fourth base. It's a situation where the Zerg is probably going to want to end the game right away.
Tasteless, you are amazing.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Well, you're right, though. That middle area, that is a point of contention, and Zergs do not like this map for good reason.
Yeah.
You know, taking that fourth base, very difficult. And, of course, Terran can take it, and, you know, with a watchtower, having that extra base, which is, by the way, gold minerals. You kidding me? Gold minerals?
I mean, when you have mules and a gold base, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's pretty damn strong. Now, I don't know what DRG has planned, but this is going to be one of the maps that he's not going to be happy to be playing on.
Yeah,
Zergs tend to veto this map.
This is actually one of the maps where, you know, if he loses, I don't think he'll really take it to heart. I don't think he'll think of, oh, he's up 2-1 on me. I think it's more like, well, you know, we're 1-1 and he got Antigua, which I kind of didn't feel that good on. So yeah. I've been trying to think, what is DRG going to do here? When he played against Ganji, he did this, which is what we're seeing right now. Which is what we saw last game, which is a bunch of speedlings to go and punish the very fast expansion of Terran. Now, Marineking is going to go for that expansion, so I do expect this same thing out of DRG this game, which is pretty exciting. You know, Marineking caught off guard a little bit from it before, and I feel like he might even be able to do more damage this time.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're dead on, Artosis. So they're both building up their economies. On another focal point for this map, by the way, is the watchtower in the center location. This location, in other matchups actually even more so, but it's important on this map as well, gives you a vision of that center point, and it can allow you, let's say that Terran takes the fourth base. If Zerg can acquire that, well, let's say, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Terran takes the fourth base at the gold. If Zerg can acquire that location and they get Broodlords over something like that, well, the Terran is in hot water. And conversely, if the Zerg takes that expansion, usually they don't because this is such a common issue on this map, Terran can get siege tanks up there, hit the drones, maybe even hit the hatchery.
Well, we have reactor Hellions on the way. Will the Speedling production start after the Queens pop out? He just did his double inject. I'm very excited to see. You know, I'm actually pretty sure that's exactly what's going to happen. If he just went quick speed and doesn't want to make this little Speedling attack against the same build that he kind of designed it against, I'll be immensely surprised and disappointed.
Well, we'll have to wait and see when he's going to do that exactly. Speed is almost done. And, you know, the quick link speed builds are actually, for a little bit of history for you guys, are actually from StarCraft 1. It was a few years into StarCraft 1, somebody suddenly figured out, I guess if I mine gas and I want to get Zergling speed, I don't have to keep mining gas. I guess I could actually just put the drones back on the minerals, just make Zerglings, and then have the speed upgrade. And it's great because your Zerglings are way more powerful with speed. They get better surrounds, they can run away better, and it's great. And of course, if you can catch up to other units more quickly, I could catch up to a scouting probe or stalker and surround it and get rid of it, and that means they don't have intel.
Well, this game, he is definitely doing something a little bit different. He's getting a spine crawler in a third base, and he's actually not making that many lings. A very small amount of lings being made. Now, nice snipe right there by Marineking with those Hellions to get rid of that creep tumor. And a cloaked Banshee is on the way. Now, we're going to have to see if he actually gets anything for detection. When is his first evolution chamber going to come out? And I mean, is he going to have that creep spread just right? His lair is not started, so we will not see any overseers against this.
Oh my God, he's so good. Look, can we get a shot of the Hellion at the bottom that's inside the third base from Marineking? Look at that. That way he could shoot a creep if it tries to if it tries to come out from there.
Well, the spine crawler walking up here. Hey, spine crawler, you don't have any creep.
You know, if he does it right, he
it
could
is.
actually. I was going to say he could use the Hellions to kind of get in the way of the spine crawler actually planting itself. But Marineking Prime going to go ahead and get a quick third base. DRG at 70 supply to the 59 of Marineking.
Well, in comes this Banshee, and Cloak is almost done. A second Banshee on the way, targeting down that Queen, so his Banshee can really do maximum damage. There is another Queen on the way in there.
Oh,
the Evolution Chamber's not quite done yet. Another Queen coming up, and Cloak is about to finish. Cloak does finish, and there we go. The Cloaked Banshee now going to cause some more problems, trying to target down Queens as quickly as possible, and a lot of Queens are in fact going to go down. Already 2 have fallen.
Yeah, and the more Queens he takes out, the worse it's going to be. He needs to get a Spore Crawler up here, but at this point in time, with the Banshee being so well covered, I think he might be able to deny this pretty well. Now remember, the Banshee can't stay cloaked forever. In fact, it has 25 energy, and so soon its invisibility will be gone.
Okay, so DRG right there, he lost a lot of Queens, lost 3 drones, some of his lings, had to build a Spore Crawler and bring some spines up. It was kind of painful. You know, it takes a while to get those Queens back and really get your macro back up. So in this time, he is going up to lair, and he is getting 1/1 upgrades for his Zerglings. And I do like that. But is he going to go Mutas here, or is he going to go Infestors? That's something we'll find out as he finishes up his lair.
Okay, so he now has another Banshee up, just doing a little bit of harassment here. Terran is going to go probably back into his base and turtle for a good amount of time. Zerg may attack coming up here. Again, Zerg, hard time with the 4th base, so they try to end the game quickly on this map.
Well, DRG, right now, he doesn't know about that 3rd base of Marineking, and that could be an issue. This happens a lot right now where Terrans are taking bases really quickly, realizing, hey, I can just kind of lift off and throw my mules there. And it's, if DRG doesn't figure it out pretty soon, then he may do all the battles wrong. He might think, oh, you know what, I'm ahead, I'm on 3 bases, this is wonderful, in which case that can result in a loss. So we really need to see a little bit more scouting out of him. But we do have, 2 Spires coming up, Tasteless.
Okay, so he's either going to go for Mass Muta or tech up the Hive immediately and go for Broodlords, but I think it could be Mass Muta.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Mass Upgraded Muta, and this is something that Leenock kind of debuted back in GSL in like November. It's a great strategy. Basically, you get Mutas that are so strong that when Terran attacks you, you can actually just counterattack and kill turrets and little groups of Marines and stuff like that. And it really makes your Mutas worthwhile. But if you lose Mutas while you're doing it, if you have to sacrifice a bunch of Mutas, then you get way behind. So he's going to have to be very careful with that. By the way, there's 3 Banshees out. That's like a funny number. It might not seem funny to everyone who's watching, but oftentimes we see 2 Banshees. So these 3 are going to catch DRG just slightly off guard and make it a little bit harder to defend.
Okay, so he's probably going to use these to just check and scan and kill creep. You can also scout with him. I guess you can do that.
Yeah, 3 Banshees, man. 2 wouldn't work. But in fact, he does have Cloak, so 1 goes down to these Queens, and now he gets to do a lot of damage. Yeah, very well done, taking out a lot of drones right now. 9 Mutas are on the way, though.
Oh my God, he's getting so many kills right now. 16 workers killed.
Wow.
17.
Well, in response to that, DRG is making 18 drones tasteless.
Is he going to get away with the Banshee? Oh no, the Banshee was a quitter and just stopped.
All right, we have 2-2 on the way for the Zerglings, 1-1 on the way for the Mutas, and Baneling speed also coming up, whereas Marineking is getting +2/+2 for his Marines, and just that +1 for his siege tanks.
Okay, the Mutas are out now. This is their turn to make the Terran try to be defensive, but Marineking doesn't even care. He's actually going to push out.
Yeah, he's counterattacking.
Which might not be good for Marineking. We're actually might be in a base trade scenario. No, I take it back. DRG going to come in here, try to do a surround.
And he's got to be careful because he does have a lot of units out on the map. DRG can do a pretty nice flank here. Baneling speed is done. 2-2 going to finish very soon. And there's only 2 siege tanks here. So a lot of this is going to be dependent upon the splitting micro of Marineking.
All right,
Actually,
he's coming in here now. I think DRG might be in trouble. He has supply cap, so if he doesn't do enough with this battle up here, it's going to be really bad news. A lot of units coming out here hitting the medevacs.
Great job.
Already over here at the expansion.
Oh man, those little Marines split off. They could have helped a bit in that battle, but you know, they've done a lot of damage here. And now we have 41 drones that have been killed this game. That is a gigantic number. That's going to be very painful. We only have 60 drones against 60 SCVs, 3 base against 3 base, and of course with mules, we have to give Marineking the economy lead.
Absolutely. We have the Mutas now coming over here. He doesn't want to be attacked anymore. He wants to try to do as much damage as he possibly can, keep the Marines inside the base, because right now DRG is making, well, actually DRG is making lings, but he does want to recover that number of drones. In fact, let me check. Right now, it's 68 drones to 60 SCVs, but when you count mules in, that means Terran has a substantial lead.
All right, so DRG, he has to figure out what he wants to do here. He is going to start those 2-2 upgrades on the Mutas. That tells us he's still aiming for a very long game. Of course, his supply is up a bit higher, but I'm getting a little bit nervous for him because Marineking is going to get ready for a big push out to the center. He's already building another command center, which certainly will be used for the gold base, and DRG finally choosing where he wants to make his 4th.
All right, as you can see now, hitting that eBay. Oh, no way. Nice save there, Marineking Prime. Had he lost that upgrade, that was the, what, armor upgrade.
Yeah.
Going into that engineering bay.
I feel like everything is happening twice today, Tasteless. He almost killed that 3rd armor upgrade in the exact same way against Ganji, but it does not fall, which is really good for Marineking. Now, these 2-2 lings running into the 3rd base. Oh, the depot isn't up.
But for some reason, he comes out and tries to fight Marines. DRG not necessarily utilize this the way he should, but he is over there. Oh, a lot going on at once. For some reason, Marineking with a small army over there in the map, but meanwhile, the main of Marineking taking a ton of damage.
That is right, but the Muta's taking a lot of damage as well. In fact, they're going to get caught right outside. Great moves by Marineking, and there's only 13 Mutas out. You know, he spent so much on these upgrades, but he continues to lose Mutas, and that is very detrimental to this strategy.
Okay. The Marines getting healed up now. And, yeah, Artosis, I want to echo what you said, because I think you're so smart for saying this. Marineking is just making sure that Dongraegu does not get enough Mutalisks. He invested in the strategy of having a super Muta ball that would destroy everything. Instead, it's not the case.
No, it certainly is not. We do have a lot of Banelings and Zerglings being made right now. How many siege tanks do we actually have out here? Quite a few, but oh, this is beautiful. This is upgraded Mutalisks doing their best. He's got to be careful. Oh, losing a lot there. And unfortunately, his 3rd base taking a lot of damage as well. DRG still in a lot of trouble here. And Banelings going after everything that Thor is somehow still alive.
There's so much stuff going on the map right now. This is actually very hard to follow. Okay, so it looks like DRG is going to defend his main. There's a bunch of Zerglings doing damage to Marineking's base. A lot of blows being traded here.
We do have Marineking's supply plummeting, but still he has a pretty fearsome army at that 3rd base, and he may end up taking out the hatchery. A lot of drones do, in fact, fall. At this point, he's killed 50 of them, but 45 SCVs have been killed. The counterattack doing a great job. These 2-2 Mutalisks and 2-2 Zerglings proving to be extremely strong.
You know, it doesn't seem like Marineking actually has anything at his base. And this small squad of Marines is not going to be enough. I don't think Marineking can win this, actually.
Well, more and more lings on the way for DRG. Runs them up to the high ground to morph more Banes. The Mutas still harassing. The army of Marineking not that fearsome for DRG at this point. This is something he can deal with. Only 2 siege tanks left in that army to kill off the Banelings with.
Also denying Banelings from being morphed over here, but here comes a large ball of Banelings now. Smartly and wisely, DRG backs off out of range of the siege tank. He says, you know what, I have this operational expansion, actually 2 of them, one in the middle left, one in the bottom right. I could just try to build a bigger army. If I take out this ball in the middle, I will win this, and here we go.
And having to actually kill the siege tanks off there, as the banelings would have all died trying to run away. And going after these Marines now as well.
I think that's it.
Dude, it's 60 supply to 108. DRG looking
he just
fantastic.
He just doesn't really have much of anything back in his base. The production facilities for Marineking were pretty much wiped out.
He's actually about to run out of minerals in the third base, which is the only place he's actually mining from right now. Well, we have a lot more mutas on the way. A couple Vikings popped out during all this. That's quite interesting. I think it's just he needed to spend money, and well, that's another unit.
He needed to make something, and he had a starport, so he's like, I'll just get a Viking.
Yeah. Well, now DRG has 2 more bases. Yeah, he lost the third, but saturating pretty well everywhere else. Moving across the map with his units. And these mutas are just going to ravage Marineking. He doesn't have enough to spread out and stop all the harassment that can happen.
All right, the mutas are now taking out the remainder of Marineking. I'm saying it right now. I say expect GG any second here. This game is basically, I mean, Marineking is in shambles. And you know what's crazy about this, Artosis?
Yeah.
It looks like DRG is going to win on a map he's not supposed to based off his race.
You know, this is a great victory for him. This means a lot for this series, I feel. This is a map that DRG has lost a lot of games on, so good work to him. Now, he is getting infestors and pathogen glands for their energy, so I really like that, actually. You know, he's playing against someone who can no longer produce siege tanks, and if you can't have siege tanks as Terran, then infestors become unbelievably good.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. He's going to take out the starport, says no more medevacs, please, K, thanks, bye. And, I don't know. I know Marineking is a tenacious player, but I'm a bit surprised because if you look at, like, actually what's going on for Marineking right now, there's just really not. He has basically no money. The only expansion that he has is just like 3 mineral patches and is about to be dried up. DRG with 3 operational bases that have an income, a very matured tech tree, and yeah, I think that there's just no way that he can recover. Remember, this is a best of 7, so there's a lot of stamina on the line, and these guys have already played so many games already, so they're going to have to remember to try to conserve that.
Yeah, well, we see the power of those upgraded Mutalisks just mowing through those turrets, killing off a lot of Marines as well. And MKP is just trying his best to come back. I mean, he's put a command center at his natural again to try to mine there. His third is basically mined out. His main is mined out. His economy is nothing compared to DRG's. His unit count, very little compared to DRG's. But he is just kind of sitting in a defensive fashion. What he wants is for DRG to attack in and somehow fumble it and become very cost efficient. But I mean, just looking at the units that are out in the map, I can't see it happening.
Okay. Here's the last shot the Marineking has. He wants to try to push out to this location where this command center cannot land because there's creep there, and he wants to try to clean up that creep, land it, hold out, and hope that that he can eventually engineer a comeback.
Yeah. Well, he does have +2 Thors, and as we saw there, they really punish those +2 Mutalisks. And if he can do that a few more times, maybe he feels like, well, if the Mutalisk harassment stops, then I should be fine. Thor's doing a good job. And now he's just going to go for it, Tasis. He's decided there's too many units there in the main, and he has plenty. Here we go. A lot of Lings and Banelings just rolling in here. The Thors being completely surrounded. And, well, the Mutalisks.
Wow, that Thor lived. I'm kidding. He died. All right, so, you know, the Mutas right now, just the powerhouse on this map. He's not going to let him get the creep to take that location. He's moving in now. Siege tanks now being surrounded.
The Mutas kind of magic boxing, but not really over anything. Not really being utilized to their fullest during all these little battles that we've been seeing. And GG, DRG is now up 2-1, winning on that map that he oftentimes hates so much. QXC,
Guys,
Chef.
Your thoughts?
I think the major turning point in that game was when DRG went for that big backstab and Marineking just kept pushing with his Marine tank force. He just ended up losing too much, and that was kind of the whole nature of that game. A lot of backstabs from DRG, Marineking trying to counterattack but not getting enough out of it.
And I think with the counterattack, it was really smart. You could tell in DRG's head, okay, do I counterattack? And he went all the way up to the third of MKP's base, and then he actually turned around. But the way he turned around, he sent like 8 or so lings, maybe 10, into the third because he knew that was clean. He went up to check, okay, is it clean? If it's not, I'm going to send my whole army. We're going to clean it up. Sent 8 there, and then he came back and then flanked from both sides. And I think that was pretty important. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that was a really important part of that game. Obviously, he killed a ton of SCVs off, and, well, he lost a lot of drones during that little engagement as well. So what do you guys think about the double Spire play on this map? I know I was talking to you earlier, Sheth, and you don't really like mutas as much here, but the double Spire strategy, it gives him a lot of counter-attack potential.
Yeah, for sure. With this ability, it's basically saying, I'm going to stay on Mutiling Bane for a while, and I'm going to try and make you earn the win. Like, I'm not going to take up to Broodlords quick. I'm not going to win off something like Infestor. It's like saying, I want to make my Mutiling Bane as cost-efficient as possible.
Yeah, and he definitely got a lot of mileage out of those Mutalisks. Would have liked to have seen some earlier Thors from Marineking once you sense that they're doing that 1-1 style.
Well, do you feel like, because there was a period in that game where there was so much stuff going on, it was almost hard to keep up with. Do you feel like Marineking was a little bit too spread out, considering, DRG has like 3 bases, or for most of that game, until there was a clear point where the game was over. But do you feel like Marineking should have just kept it a little bit tighter, and just because I felt like he had one army out here at the bottom, then he's dropping somewhere else, he's trying to defend. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely would have liked to have seen him consolidate his position a little bit better there.
I think that was the beauty of DRG's play, was that he exploited that one weakness, that MKP did spread out just a little bit too early and just went everywhere.
Yeah, he needed to make sure that he was engaging in cost-efficient ways and really maintaining his economy, and he just took so much damage from those Ling run-bys, the Mutalisk destroying a lot of his production in that one big backstab.
Well, right now, DRG is up 2-1. Sheth, you may have been right. QXC, do you have any doubts right now that Marineking
Terran always
cannot
wins
come back?
faceless.
Thank you, Artosis.
Yeah. No problem.
My sentiments have been echoed. I definitely feel like Marineking will pull this back. We haven't seen... I'm not sure what was going through his mind in that last game, and even a little bit in the game before that, but I feel like he's still got the ability to pull himself together mentally and start making some good decisions, because he's just been overextending himself a little bit too much in these last 2 games we've seen.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Well, up 2-1. Next map going to be Cloud Kingdom. What do you guys want to see from these players on Cloud Kingdom?
Go ahead.
Okay. Here, I think it's kind of a weird situation where I'd really like to see something other than Mutas. This map can be absolutely amazing for Muta, but it's also really, really good for Infestor. With the ramps, the Terran have to go, and you can really spread creep pretty easy on this map.
Yeah, I actually don't think Dongraegu should favor Mutas on this map. It's got a lot of high ground. It's very good for siege tanks, and siege tanks plus Marines are basically the bane of Mutalisks. Usually what we see on this map, at least in my experience, is more heavy Ling play, early Infestors, Fast Hive, and Broodlords. It's pretty easy to hold a 3rd and a 4th base. Terran can't really spread you out the way that we've seen players like MMA do, and then you have a good opportunity to do that big Broodlord push.
Yeah, I do like that style. And DRG has shown us in the past that the double evolution chamber Infestor play is something he's very good at. So let's see if he actually ends up doing it here. Now, you guys, I want to ask you, where do you guys like to take a 4th base on this map? Because that's kind of like a tricky question in this matchup.
Oh, good question.
It is a very tricky question. As Zerg, it can be really tough. I'm sure you've noticed, like, as a Terran, it's like so easy to dropship the kind of really close to 3rd base. The 4th base that's kind of forward, especially using that ramp, is so easy. So as a Zerg, you almost want to double expand for your 4th, and whichever one's lucky enough to live.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty reasonable strategy. The problem is if you take the 4th that's kind of vertical from your natural, you can actually siege it from the high ground. And so if the Terran gets an opportunity to push from his 3rd over to that location, it almost always goes down. If you take that other 4th, then the Terran only has one real opportunity, or he has one objective really, and if he gets to that fourth and he's doing a lot of damage, oftentimes he can continue to push to the third. So I think a double expand makes a lot of sense on this map, or even a hidden expansion in one of the corners.
Those corner bases, man. Every single time someone takes a corner base, you drop like 2-3 Marines behind there, and Zerg is just like, oh.
Are we ready to get this going?
No, it looks like they are just having a quick bathroom break.
Oh,
so we will.
Bathroom breaks are important. All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about you know, this match coming up here. With Marineking's style being so different, I'm curious to see what he's going to do in this game. He's really you know, mixed it up, and DRG as well. And I believe we actually are ready to go.
Are we? DRG.
Well, I see him
just waiting for his confirmation, and we will get going then.
He says ready.
All right, we're gonna go, Tasteless. It is game number 4, an important game indeed. If DRG can take this, then he only needs one more game.
Let's see what happens. The game is loading. The map is ESV Cloud Kingdom. DRG against Marineking.